Mervyn, I heard a lot about this, the TBox and the fact to connect like an edge device, and I don't quite know what that means. What do we got?
So interesting enough, there's been a lot of talk about edge devices, and I actually think the TBox is one of the original edge devices. One of the things, if you look at today, people call an edge device is almost just synonymous with MQTT, but I actually think an edge device is a gateway, an edge device is a historian. Those types of things, those are far more important. An edge device you can actually configure to do things. So if you look here on this slide, we've got all the different interfaces, which are basically, we have Ethernet, serial as well. We support a cell modem, and we can support all the IP stuff with that. And then down below, we have Modbus and SNMP, DNP3, Ethernet IP, which allows us to talk to Rockwell PLCs directly as a master, ROC, and MQTT as a broker, which we can be, or you can just be an MQTT client. We have web server capabilities, so we support web interfaces. We have alarms via text message, emails, as well as data logging, which is really important, and we know how to extract that data via logging, or we can FTP it out of there. And then last but not least, we can program it using ladder or the basic language.
Okay, what sizes of RT do you have? Is the TBox like one size fits all, or do you have multiple choices?
No, we're pretty scalable in sizes. I'm just going to cover this little architecture here quick.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So just all this shows is you can talk to it with a PC, or you can actually talk to it with your phone directly. And we have a fairly small, tight form factor, and we'll show that to you later on. So yes, to go on and answer your question, John.
What sizes do we have?
Yeah, so a variety of sizes. So if you look at starting in the lower right-hand corner, the TBox MS, which is a full rack-mounted unit with dedicated I/O channels. We have differential I/O and things like that. And if you wanted to put all Ethernet ports in it, you can just make it a big router and have 18 slots of Ethernet ports, which would be like 64 slots of Ethernet, or 64 ports of Ethernet. If you go over to the left, that's where we start at the small form factor, which is the TG2. Now, they're the same processor and everything, and that actually works through the TG2 and the LT2 family. They can have cell modems or not, same as the MS. Or we go down to our not so intelligent unit, which is the TBox RM2, which is just a web-based I/O configuration. So we take away all the flexibility that we would normally have with the TBox, and just go into a web page and map the I/O. And then last but not least is our waterproof device. We've taken all that good smarts, jammed a battery into it, made it submersible down to 3 meters, and that is the TBox Nano.
What, like it sounds like a good industrial device, but what are the environmental and the electrical capabilities?
The environmental and electrical capability. Well, typically we get two things that I want to highlight here. One is -40 rated to +75. And the other one is class 1 div 2. So we meet both of those. But we also did some really cool testing. And the testing we did was, we had a client that had a really, really stringent spec. And so we actually took the T-boxes in a test facility in Airdrie down to -75. And so you can see the test here. But what was really neat about it is we were sitting in the boardroom while the test was going on, and we could actually see it pop right up on our cell phones onto this page as the test was live. What was really cool, we also took it to, I think it was 12 Gs and a thing like a paint shaker at the same time. So it is a very, very, very rugged box. -75, and I think we took it up to +130 as well as part of the testing, but +85 is what we said. Thanks.
How do you program this thing?
Programming, pretty easy. We do ladder and basic. And the ladder logic is, if you go to the next slide, typically you can see ladder this way. Or we have our basic programming language, which is something like this, which looks very, very similar to Visual Basic. And you can actually combine the two. So if you want to do ladder for the discretes and all the analog conditioning and stuff and things like that with basic, you could do that. You can mix and match it how you like.
You can do some pretty high-end calculations too, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. They support a full function library, so it's pretty neat what they allow us to do. I mean, think of almost any kind of basic languages that you can do, like series and sequences type stuff, we can do it in the TBox.
What about this, the web interface? I see it's got some, how hard is this to do, these web samples?
They're really simple. So we actually have you can do two things. Either web form comes with the TBox, or you can actually go use XML if you want and do your own configurations, which is via, I have to remember it, Java. So you can do Java scripting and get your own interfaces. So, but as part of the web form comes integrated, and all you do is just drag and drop these icons onto the screen, and they automatically map themselves right into the I/O of the TBox.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go talk about add-on applications. I know I saw this screen, and I was kind of curious about the Spark-Plug-B and the one at the bottom, the True Programmer Black Box or Bare Metal Linux. I don't understand. What is that?
Okay. So anyway, I think we covered all the protocols before, but yeah, the data iCarving is a big deal. The fact that we can do a lot of diagnostics, but the black box is where we basically take all the TwinSoft, which is the programming software, out of it, and instead we use we call it a black box, but it would just come with a Linux operating system on it, and then you can program whatever you want, write your own libraries. We actually have a couple of customers using them, but one just used them to do modeling. And all they've done is they've custom programmed their own modeling. They went and built Python scripts and then dropped them into the TBox.
Oh, pretty neat. And again, internet services. Not sure what to talk about in this screen.
Well, so internet services, I mean, just the idea that the TBox is actually the web server. So you don't need a third-party box. You're welcome to have a third-party box, such as a SCADA system or some web-based SCADA or something like that. But in it itself is the web server. And so it supports as well email notifications, FTP, time synchronization, and also IP forwarding. So it can act as a router and a firewall for your network. So it's a pretty powerful little box. Oh, yeah, John just pointed at the camera. We have a number of people as well, and we have objects built into TwinSoft where you can add a camera to it and look at things in real time. And yeah, it's a very, very, very powerful device. And with the IP forwarding, not only can you hook a camera up, but you can also use the features of the camera, pan, tilt, and zoom, and those types of things.
Okay. This is a little more stuff on the edge we were talking about before. I think we kind of covered this already.
Well, I kind of got ahead of myself before.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It was my fault. I had a loaded question at the front end.
So anyways, but yes, as an edge device, we are ready to go. And we have a lot of things already pre-built that you would be trying to stitch multiple software packages together to try to get it to meet the functionality that comes in the TBox.
And security, always important to everybody.
Absolutely. So we support OpenVPN. That's the big part of it. And that allows you to VPN into the actual TBox. It supports certificates. And as I said before, we basically have all the functionality of a firewall, so we can do all the port blocking and things like that.
And a protocol conversion screen. I'm not sure what that is, Bill.
Okay, so what this basically does is allows us to be the one communication center. And this is one of the things that people get pretty excited about the edge devices on. And we have another product called the ZetaWave Edge that we'll talk about in another video. But basically, we can take ROC or the ControlLogix PLC or any of those Modbus devices and bring them through their TBox, convert them to MQTT or DNP3, and push the data out. So we can now, not only do we locally archive data, so that if you ever have a communication breakdown, you can actually get the data from the device, but we also allow it to be changed or a protocol translation to occur.
Now I got these specialty applications. Now I see we got T-flow. I'm not sure what that means, but looks like it's a oil and gas or a gas and oil flow calculation.
It is. It's a flow computer. So thanks for playing dumb, John. So yeah. So if you need a gas flow computer, we support a gas flow computer. If you actually go to the next slide. Yeah. So this is what T-flow's built. It's pre-built into the TBox. You buy it as an extra application. From TFlow, though, you can still get access to all the programming capabilities of TwinSoft. We support AGA3, AGA7, AGA8. Be aware, though, if you're doing a turbine meter input, we do need to put something that is either a signal booster to boost the voltage, or you need to put a totalizer, which is typical of most applications. People like to have a totalizer on the turbine meter. So also support VCO.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I got too far ahead of you. Okay.
That's okay.
Safety box.
Safety box.
The toolbox.
Safety box was basically, we had a bunch of people that didn't want to buy TwinSoft, so we built all the functionality into a web configurable solution so that you can get all your alarm callouts, your shutdown key is web configurable, and you can actually manage it from your phone, or you can manage it from your laptop, whichever you'd like. If you actually flick to the next slide, this gives you an idea of what the initial login of a safety box would look like. And on the left-hand side is what actually appears on your phone. And you can actually interact with it. So you can type in DI alarms, and it will come back and tell you that, what the alarms are. You can say web, and in here it comes back and gives you the web address. So you don't have to log all the names of the computers that you have, or T-boxes that you have out there. And then the login screen pops up so you can log into it.
And no programming.
And no programming, zero, just purely a web configuration interface.
Okay. And this is a T-Connect, which looks like a connection software for VPN.
Yeah, T-Connect's really neat because once you get, so let's say you decided that you wanted to have all of your T-boxes be their own web servers, which is great. But once you get 5 or 6 of them, it becomes a real pain to maintain. T-Connect allows you to deal with them all in one interface, and it also allows you to build your VPN tunnel, and you can use that tunnel with other systems like SCADA systems and proprietary protocols like Modbus and those types of things. So T-Connect allows you to manage all of your security on all of your T-boxes from one piece of software, and it allows you also to use TwinSoft. So it's really, really, really powerful what you can do with T-Connect. And that's an additional cost on T-box.
Costs.
Costs.
Yes.
So pricing starts at under $1,000 for the TG2, which you don't have to have a cell modem on it. You can just have a raw TG2 that's just a gateway type device or a data logging device. And then you can move all the way up to our full MS, which would be in the thousands of dollars for a full rack mounted MS. Also, the programming software is a one-time cost of $850 with no support costs, and we have a 5-year warranty on the hardware.
And we're going to do a demo after, and Bill's doing a demo right now, but he's programmed anyway. What I'd like to ask you, any sample applications, where are people putting these things?
Oh, so we use them in a lot of places. So lots of oil and gas, definitely for well site monitoring, single battery, single well control, multi-well control, multi-battery control. In addition, we have a lot of them for third-party systems. We use them in medical marijuana for chamber controls. We also use them for a lot of water, wastewater type applications. We have people using them in mobile applications. Basically, we found a box we think that fits pretty much everywhere. And between the breadth of being able to take the already environmentally protected nano and just hang that on a pole someplace, to what we can do with just the standard LT2, which is the single card you see in front of you, or the larger MS. There are very few applications that we cannot use a T-box in.
Form factor is pretty tight compared to a lot of our competitors.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So here we have a competitive box, and here we have our T-box Nano. And if we actually look at how many nanos, or sorry, a LT2, if you actually look at how many T-boxes we could stack up against that, we can put 5 or 6 in that each of these has as much I/O as this has. So anyways, that's our discussion about form factor.
Anyway, any other things you want to bring up, Mervyn?
No, I think that about covers it.
Okay.
We are going to do a live demo here shortly, so you should see the next segment. Yeah, you will actually see us connect up to a PLC. So
okay, sounds good. Okay.
Excellent. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys, and we'll look forward to Rev 3 of the
episode 3.
Episode 3. Sorry, not version 3, but anyway, episode 3 of Tech Talk with Templeton, and have a good day. Record. Here we go. Well, we got today we have Kyle Mercer from Avero. They're the manufacturers of the TBox RTUs and such, and we're going to get Kyle to give us a quick demo on the interface between the TBox RTU and the Rockwell PLC using the Ethernet interface. Take it away, Kyle.
All right. Well, what we've got here is just a simple program set up with TwinSoft, talking to TBox LT2 in another office here. It's also connected up to a ControlLogix PLC. And to actually use the Ethernet IP function, what we would do is the TBox allows you to add or to put on add-ons, so different protocols you can throw onto the TBox and give the TBox some additional functionality. In this particular case, we're going to use the Ethernet IP add-on.
And these add-ons are actually no extra charge. You don't have to.
That's correct. That's right. You sign up for our help desk portal, get access, and you can put the add-ons on at no additional charge. So once we've added it, which I've already gone and done ahead here, but as you can see on screen, there's quite a few different add-ons to choose from. The particular one that we are using here is the Ethernet IP client, which was already configured. But if we once we put the add-on there, we select properties and go in and configure the different components for the add-on. So typically an add-on will have this tree-like menu structure to go through. With the Ethernet IP add-on, the first thing we do is going to add on PLCs. So different PLCs that we want to talk to, and we can add on multiple ones. For this particular case, we only have one to talk to. So once, what we would do here is go add the actual PLC. We throw on a trigger tag, so we want to be able to tell it to connect or disconnect from it. So you can have some control over whether the add-on fires or not.
Okay.
And then status, we've got a variable that comes back. It's a signed 32-bit variable that comes back and gives us status information. And that we'll select Ethernet IP status. And then the IP address of the PLC that we're going to talk to.
What's this PCCC measurement?
So use PCCC messaging is for older style RTUs. So what you'd have in the SLC 5 or the MicroLogix is it wouldn't be pure Ethernet IP. It would have the DF1 protocol embedded within Ethernet IP.
Okay.
Yeah. So that allows you to select between the different types.
Yeah, older PLCs.
That's right.
Okay.
So we've actually got a ControlLogix, so we don't need that version. Then once we've got that all configured up, so I'm just leaving this address as we don't, I'm actually going to cancel out of this because we've set it up already. But after you do all of that, you go and add in a new tag that you want to talk to with the PLC.
Okay.
So this name is actually going to be the name that's assigned within the controller itself. So with Ethernet IP, the way that it works with TBox is you'll have your PLC. You'll go in and set up the distributed tags. So you have to actually go in ahead of time and set up those, which we do for security purposes, or Alan Bradley does for security purposes. They don't want to leave all the tags just sort of, hey, I can connect to these as I want. So you would take the actual name that you've defined inside the PLC,
okay,
and use it as a tag name here.
Do you have to that? You have to.
You do,
that
yes.
Point. Okay.
Exactly. So you would,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. So here I'm going to a tag that's called test1, and I'm going to the actual value of it. I could try and bring back the status or the quality bit, quality information from it if I wanted. But here I'm trying to bring back the actual value. PLC1 is the PLC number in the list of PLCs up here. So
That's one.
it's the first one. That's where I'm going to be pulling it from. Operation, I can do read or write, and I can set up one tag in here that would be tag test1.value read, and then I can set up another one that is test1.value write.
Okay.
So I can read and write to the tags, and I can trigger those separately too.
Okay.
Trigger tag on it. So if I assign a trigger tag to it, every time I get a positive edge on that trigger, it is going to go and read that value. So if you don't want to send a whole bunch of commands over the IP network, this is one way to be able to ration how you do that. If you don't put a trigger tag in here, it will just go and ask for it every cycle.
Okay. Which is easy, right? Yeah.
That's right, exactly. And it depends on how many points you're going to
Yeah.
have, right? If you've only got a couple, it's not really a big deal. Then we're going to choose the tag type, whether that be integer, signed integer, double integer, real, and then there's two others that we would use if we were talking specifically to the older hardware. So this was an int, and then by selecting this type, that determines which one of these fields below is actually available. It's only going to select the int one. This is the actual tag inside the TBox that I'm going to be talking to. So that guy right there, and it's a word, a short, a signed short integer is what this is. And then you go through and set those up for all the different tags that you've got. You can do tags, so single ones with the values. You can also do ones that are array values. So that's this square brackets 0 and 1 and 2. So these are all double integers that are set up in the Allen Bradley PLC as part of an array. Then I've also got my tag that I can, my real tag that I write to. So I've got one that's set up as writing to that tag with a trigger on it. So I might want to go and read the tag all the time, but I'm only going to want to write to it when there's a change.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it's really kind of flexible on how you can set this up. You get to set up a few more rules than you normally would with some of the other add-ons that we've got as to how you trigger all of these. And then after that's all said and done here, so we'll remove this because it was just for show. We'll go save. We send that off to the RTU. Hollywood moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of add-ons for these units. Like we could, what kind of protocols you support? There's Modbus, TCP/IP, Modbus serial.
So built in, you've got Modbus and RTU and TCP. Then as far as add-ons go, OPC UA, Ethernet IP, DF1, Siemens S7, ISO protocol, DMP3, DMP3 secure, so both slave and client for both of those, as well as the IEC equivalents. Can never remember what those are offhand. And then a few other things like database archiver, ping, which is just the internet, the normal internet ping tool, but you can use that for testing if you've got a network connection and being able to decide if you want to switch between connections.
And MQTT.
MQTT is another one. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting one somewhere in there. MQTT. And then we've got things like also a Steam library that we can throw in there as well. So a lot of flexibility with add-ons.
As we mentioned during the earlier presentation, these TBox can act as a broker for MQTT, can also act as a consumer.
That's right.
So it's
and in the same box.
In the same box.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
So it's got a lot of flexibility.
So what we've got in here, if you can see this guy going on, I've just got a couple values that are changing within the PLC itself to show that it's doing that. So exactly, just some simple count ups, and some of these don't change so much. But if we had that real write value here, I can change that to say pi, and then I can trigger the write on it because I set it up to have a trigger. This will write it out to the PLC. And then if I go to, even if I change this value here, just for the sake of changing it, and I trigger the read, this should pull back that same value that I had written to the PLC.
Great.
So you can control what you're doing with it and determine if you're reading and writing.
So it's fairly simple. It's the main thing to mostly drop downs.
Yeah.
Very simple to use. So.
Exactly. It comes with a manual, fairly it's a fairly well written manual. So if there's any things that you want to know, what's this field for, it comes with the add-on as well. So
If you get really stuck, you can call the VetSam office, and we've got a couple, 3 people who are very proficient with TBoxes. So don't be afraid to give us a call if you've got any hiccups along the road.
for sure.
Anyway, thanks, Kyle.
You bet.
It was very informative, and thank you very much.
No problem.